Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the program CEO's Chat here on KMTV and also simulcast on Blaze TV as well as Satec TV. CEO's Chat is an hour program that highlights the importance of entrepreneurship and on doing business and how individuals can develop competitive skills in doing business. The program also talks about the various business cycles, moving from ideation to product development, marketing, branding, and everything business. This is the entrepreneurship nursery ground where business leaders, corporate executives, those who are actually involved in the business process share their thoughts, their experiences, their successes, their failures on how to do business in Liberia. And we have, again, a wonderful topic to discuss today. And my name is Wilcom Duncan, CEO of Champion Designs. Employees everywhere represent the backbone of companies. And no doubt, if you are an entrepreneur, if you run a company or firm, or even as a startup business, your knowledge on how to handle employees' issues and how to deal with employees' expectations, they're very cardinal. In fact, it even goes beyond handling employees' issues to motivating employees to get the best output from them. To help us find out how we can motivate and inspire employees as business owners, corporate executives, would-be business owners and startup owners, I've invited a very young, enterprising corporate executive. She will be sharing her thoughts, her practical experiences on how to inspire or motivate employees. And my very special studio guest is Mrs. Aminata Kamara. She is the commercial and media manager at Tamma Corporation, one of the multimedia houses here in Liberia. This program is 6 to 7 p.m. Liberian time. You can get to stream it on Facebook Live on KMTV's page and also on KMTV YouTube page and also Satec TV Facebook page, Blaze TV Facebook page. You can get to stream this program live. It's every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And let me welcome my guests to our studio. Welcome, Mrs. Snell. Let me start to use the more appropriate name now.
Thank you.
So let's get started with your business, Tamma Corporation. What is this business involved with?
Tamma Corporation is a Liberian-owned business. It actually focuses on three pillars. We have IT and innovation. We have Tamma Media, Tamma Multimedia, which most people are familiar with. And then we have Tamma Consultancy. So basically, Tamma Innovation and Solutions provides convenient services for people, for users. Publicly, currently, we have two apps running. We have School Mass, which provides solutions for administrative problems, finance problems.
You talk about administrative problems for both people in public sectors or in private sectors, or what?
Well,
exactly?
School Mass is a public platform. It's a school platform. Both private and public schools can register. You don't have. It's not a heavy app, so you don't have to own it. Like it's not cost intensive. You pay a specific fee monthly to use School Mass, and then your students have a student portal where they can access the school. They have e-learning. They got assignment pages. They have chat rooms for the classrooms. It's very user-friendly and can be used. We've already rolled it out in TVETs, and hopefully this year we'll be doing high schools and elementary schools.
Okay.
Secondly, we have eWali. eWali is a mobile app, a payment app that brings convenience to your door, where you can do cash transfers, you can do payments, you can do purchases online. It has an entire marketplace also attached to it, and it provides convenience. So at that point where there is no liquidation in the economy, where there's a lack of cash, You can always use your e-wallet to buy, tap up online to pay your bills at Sacom and other bills. You can use it at different supermarkets to make payments, and you can do cash transfer from a friend, or you can cash out at our various agents' locations in Monrovia and upcountry.
Mm. And this is a Liberian-owned business,
And this is
100%.
100% Liberian-owned business.
Mm.
And then we have Tamma Multimedia.
Mhm.
It's the first digital TV in Liberia, and we provide 24-hour services as one of the first few local televisions in Liberia. And we basically, Tamma Media Multimedia is a pioneer. We try to be the first in doing a lot of things. We broadcast simultaneously on social media and TV. We hosted the first reality TV in Liberia,
Okay.
and we're about to host another one. So, and we've created a platform for the local artists to be able to showcase their talents. So that's what Tamma Multimedia is about. And the last service we provide is IT consultancy.
Okay.
So that is for individual businesses.
Individual business.
Yeah.
Quite impressive, portfolio there. And this leads me to this common perception. A lot of people saying Liberians are bad at doing business. Is it true from your experience? What do you say about that?
Firstly, I'll ask, who are those people?
I mean, that's
Yeah, I know we've heard it a lot of times, and I would say no. I disagree totally with that notion. And there are lots of businesses that we can list that were open, and I'm pretty old, by the way. Since I was in high school, Shacks, for example, Shacks has been open for that many
Scores of
years.
years.
Exactly, Musu Spot. So there are lots of businesses that have thrived over the years. And I would say to those people, instead of saying Liberians are bad at doing businesses, I would say invest into those businesses, help them create sustainable plans that can, go over the years. Let them create friendlier loans. Our loan terms in Liberia are not friendly. So for businesses to take loans is not even advisable, because you already know that you're at a high risk of default even before taking the loan. So that's another thing that the government or the policymakers will have to work on to make Liberians become more business minded. It's not just about doing business, but how do you get into the business and make it profitable.
So it completely offset the common saying that Liberians are, bad at doing business.
No,
Now,
we're not.
let's come to your corporation. So far, what are some of the gains that you can point to that your business?
First of all, Tamma is our training ground, I would like to say. It's the CEO's vision. He likes to empower young people. And if you look across Tamma, you'll see like a lot of people in their early 20s, mid 20s, up to their 30s. And that's the number one goal. Other than financial goals and the services we provide, when you look into the employment market in this country, we can tell you for a fact that at least 20 to 30% of those people have gone
Passed
through
through.
Tamma in some way or form. So that's the number one thing that was his priority, like giving back, helping to empower young persons. And other than that, Tamma has set its mark as, like I said, we have apps that were made in Liberia by Liberians, and it's fully functional and working. We did not have to go to India to employ Indian developers. We have developers that are not even in their 30s, really young persons. We have marketing individuals that are very young, but then they are performing. We are showing to Liberians that we have potential here. We have brilliant young minds, and we can do it. There's no need to outsource everything or to import. We can build from within, and that's the key vision of Tamma.
Okay. So let's come to the focus of our discussion today.
Okay.
Employees. Whether a business person likes it or not, you would need to work with people, and these people will be your reference point, your employees.
Okay.
How do you source employees? How do you, aside from professional qualifications, say you want to know whether the person has a professional qualification, but aside from that, how does a business executive source employees or hire the best or the right, for categories of employees?
Personally, I believe the key thing to look for in an employee is behavior. If the employee has the right behavior, you can build potential, you can build capacity, you can form and shape that employee whichever way will be the right fit for the organization. You can be competent, but if you don't have the requisite behavior, your competence is of no use to the organization. So let's say I am the most competent person in Liberia, but I don't know how to train employees. I don't know how to give feedback. I come to work late. I don't respond. What use is that competence to the organization? So it's personally, I would rather find someone who has a good behavior, and that way you can try to gauge their potential, and you can build on that. So if somebody has a good behavior, they will be open to feedback, meaning they are trainable. You can advise them. You can, impact knowledge. And if somebody has a good behavior, they will be able to represent you, ideally represent your organization in ways that you think will be what you want.
So for you, it's more of a character than competence at the beginning level.
Exactly.
Let's go to more issues. So we know if you're an employee, maybe your time is 8 to 5 p.m. Employees spend most of their times, at the office.
Yeah.
How do you create, this very pleasant working environment for employees? Now that they're hired in the company and you want to create an environment where everyone will see each other as family, how do you create that pleasant working environment?
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is the family, creating a family on the job. What you want to do is create a team and not a family.
What's the difference?
You know how they say family stick can bend but it can break? Yeah, but team can bend and break, because I should be able to fire you as an employer.
So more than creating a family situation, you want to create a team situation.
Yes, so the key word is creating a team. Because in a team, people have different functions in that team, and you should be able to count on them to deliver, to be able to perform, to be able to meet the targets and the goals. In as much as you should be friendly, you should have an amicable relationship, you should be able to have an open communication. It should be a teamwork, and those are all characteristics of a team. It could be of a family, but I think a family is a little too far-fetched on the job, because then you get stuck in that position where you cannot reprimand necessarily based on performance, because you think, oh, the person, like my sister, like my brother, so I can fire them or I can suspend them.
But in the family circle, you reprimand. In the family circle, you discipline people when they're going off track. If there are certain values that they're not adhering to, you reprimand them. So coming to the team, we know on the team together, everyone achieves more, and people have individual tasks and deadlines to meet. So,
I think in a family, there's a very thin line. In all honesty, the family and the team. Your family could be a team, but it has to be a really functional family. So that's why I'd rather use the term team instead of family.
Instead of the family cliche.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to recognition. So, in a team, you have a captain, you have the defenders, you have, I'm speaking from a soccer, point of view. Others might use different analogies.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't relate to soccer.
Okay, but you come there soon. But in a team, everyone has specific roles.
Yeah.
And as they take on these roles, they might excel more than others.
Exactly.
So the need for recognition becomes keen. in your employee circle, how do you ensure that in recognizing employees, you do not go the extra mile of making one group or one person feel more important than the rest of the team members?
I think on the job, the recognition should always be related to performance. So it's not, it should be merited. It shouldn't be based on personal relationships on the job. Like I have my friends, so I always praising my friend on the job. I don't think it should be that way. It should be based on merit. So you assign a task, you assign targets, and once you deliver on those targets, that's where recognition comes in. And there are different kinds of recognition, not necessarily with monetary values. You could recognize a person by just thanking them publicly, we say giving your flowers when you're alive. You could recognize a person, well, with an increment, of course, or during award ceremonies, you could give that person an award. Most importantly, growth. Growth is the most rewarding thing for an individual, according to studies, not me personally. So once I come in at entry level and I'm performing and I'm, delivering as I should be, I think creating growth opportunities for me as an individual would be the most rewarding or the most recognition I can get. So like after a year or two in a company, I could go a step further into middle management, or after a couple of years, grow towards senior management. Another way could be assigning somebody more responsibilities. So if I was supposed to manage this paper at the inception and I managed the paper well, I was able to, do everything I was supposed to do around that paper. You could give me a paper and a pen, for example.
Increase my
responsibility, my scope. So you could broaden my scope, which shows that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm doing it in the right way. That's another form of recognition.
So, growth in terms of how competent an employee is able to handle his tasks.
Yeah.
Next is assigning or delegating more responsibilities. For many people, many business owners, they look at recognition as maybe let's give him something extra in terms of bonus. How do you look at bonuses?
I think bonus can be motivating.
Having monthly, maybe monthly bonus programs for employees who have performed well in the course of that month.
But performance bonuses are good. The only downside, it is good. It can serve as motivating, as motivational, to the employees. But I'm just saying it shouldn't be just that. So you assign your bonuses based on performance. If you reach a certain target, you get this percentage. If you hit the next target, you get another percentage. It could be good, but at the end of the day, if I'm only meeting those targets and getting a specific amount, I won't feel fulfilled if there are other people coming on top of me in other layers, or people getting more responsibility around me. So then I start to question, hey, what's happening here? I am making the money, but at the end of the day, what makes you feel most fulfilled on the job is your role, what you have to contribute towards the work. It's not only monetary value.
Very interesting conversation here on the program, CEO's Chat. We're talking about how to inspire your employees, the whole employee mix, the whole employee concept. And a lot of times people just focus on the customer experience. They don't really talk about the employee experience. And so we've taken time off today to talk about the employee experience. And we have our special studio guest, Madam Aminata Kamara Sne. Yeah, Aminata Kamara Sne. She's the commercial and media manager at Tamma Corporation. We looking deep into the employee experience, talking about how to inspire and motivate our employees. We were just on talking about growth and giving added responsibilities. Let's go further down the aisle. let's talk about communication within the employee framework. A lot of times, because people come from diverse backgrounds and they have different egos, the sizes of their egos, they are different. How, in your personal practical experience, how have you been able to promote effective communication amongst employees?
Well, personally, I would say first things first is respect for your colleague. I don't see hierarchies in organizations, but I see individuals. So you should not consider yourself a boss and think that you should have a certain tone to communicate to another person. I think communication is an individual's responsibility. How you choose to communicate to your colleagues is very key. How you choose to respond to situations are also key. I mean, the organizations could take you to a series of communication trainings and all the rest, but at the end of the day, I think it's highly an individual's responsibility how to reflect on your personal actions at the end of the day and see how you can improve yourself on a daily basis. So once you come into work, don't think that because this person is a janitor, you should talk to them in a certain kind of way, or this person is the lowest employee, you should talk to them. I believe that everybody coming into an employment should be 18 or above, meaning they're an adult, responsible for themselves, and you should communicate with them the way in which you think would be appropriate if somebody talks to you in return, be it you're at the top of the organization or you're at the lowest level of the organization. So I think effective communication also, outside of just how you engage people, effective communication amongst employees is creating an environment where you can have an honest and open discussion, like giving feedback. I should be able to be comfortable enough with my colleague to be able to tell you things that I think should be improved or worked on, or things that you're doing good. And it shouldn't always be somebody expecting to hear the good things they've done at the end of the day.
Yep.
You should be open also, you the receiver of that communication, should be open to receiving negative and positive feedbacks as long as it's constructive.
Sometimes communication might be strained to the extent that some managers or business owners, they think or they reason that the best way to communicate instructions or responsibilities is to be militaristic, bossy, harsh. What do you think would be the most appropriate communication style if you want to inspire your employees to continue to do what they're asked to do or what they sign up to do, even in your absence?
Well, you said it yourself. The key is to get people to perform in your absence. Is to motivate your employees to do what is right, even when you're not around. So it's not about being in the military where you have to give commands, like a drill sergeant, but it's mostly about inspiring people to be result-driven, as it's called in proper terms. So basically, I need to communicate clearly to you so that you understand what my expectations are at the end of the day in implementing a specific task. And I think the key thing in that communication is be communicating it with respect, so that the person understands that, okay, I'm validated in this conversation.
Yep.
My input is highly appreciated, and I can go out and do it by myself. So you show people how to do things, and you don't do it for them or you pin them down to do it.
What if in showing them and they do the otherwise?
But there are those kinds of people, don't get me wrong.
So after you spend all of your time detailing the instructions to them, explaining the how and how it should be done and why this should be done, and then they do otherwise, how do you still motivate and inspire such ones?
As a leader, you should be fixing problems and not blaming people.
Okay, that's a powerful one.
It's hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that things are perfect, where I work and things are so easy. But I think at the end of the day, the aim is to complete the task. It's not who got it wrong or who got it right. I know a lot of times as an employer, getting it wrong will cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
But the focus should be on how do you complete the task.
Yep.
And in that completion process is where you empower that individual for the next time. I mean, and if this individual is that one person that you've explained it to 100 times and it's just not working out, then there is a time when you have to call it quits with that person. Maybe they're just not the right fit for your organization. It's not that that person is not a good employee, but they're not just the right fit for what you're looking for.
And what would you do? Fire the person, reassign, or?
Those could be options. Like I'll try to find what your strengths are, which areas you will perform better in, and maybe transfer you to that area. But if there's no vacant space within the organization, then we have to call it quits. Yeah.
Okay. Competition is very rife and ripe in the employment, sector. Once you employ, you have people maybe of similar skills, of the same age, of this maybe sometimes same experience. There will always be this issue about competition. As an owner of the business, or as a manager, or supervisor, whatever term, how can you be able to limit competition yet promoting productivity in the business?
Now the key question is, do I want to limit competition?
Okay, so how do you want to encourage competition? But I was looking at that form of negative and adversarial form.
Competition is always good to a certain extent, but you don't want it to become negative in the way that it will reduce productivity. You want it to be in a positive light, so that it increases productivity and encourage others, to perform, enhance performance. So like we said initially, setting targets for employees is very key. And getting employees to be results-oriented instead of task-oriented is the most effective method, according to studies, that has worked. And I think personally, I've tried that and it has been successful. So instead of focusing on the things you have to do at the end of the day, you could rather focus on the things that you've achieved, that you should be achieving. So let's take, for example, I'm making my list of things to do. I have to send an email. I have to find the address. I have to contact this person. All of those things are tasks that I have to complete. But at the end of the day, the essence is to send an email to another person. So whilst I'm sitting there spending my 1 hour, walking through, I got the address, I got this. No. At the end of the day, my achievement would be to have communicated that email to that person. So when you start looking at results rather than tasks, it becomes smaller. Because tasks, you have an entire list of things that you have to do, but it's delivering only one result. This is what the company gets at the end of the day from all of that. So when you spend your entire day on your tasks, it is not benefiting the company. So you see, like most people say, oh, you come to work all day and you don't do anything. Or the person will be like, oh, I was so busy today.
I had to do this, I had to do that.
But at the end of the day, what did we achieve should be the question from all of the things that you were doing. So I think getting employees to be results-oriented could drive competition, but then in a positive way. Once you set targets at the beginning of the task.
Setting targets. So that will mean you as a single person have set out all of these various tasks or responsibilities to these people. And I'm sure you want to do it on a daily basis or sometimes weekly basis. How do you monitor?
Depending on your area of work, obviously, some will be daily, some will be hourly, some will be weekly. How do you monitor all of these employees is where the empowerment comes in.
Okay.
Because if you have to micromanage them and you have a large group to manage, it becomes a challenge because you only got one big head, as I usually put it, and two hands. So you have to empower the employees to be able to deliver independently, and that's where the results orientation comes in, because I'm only looking at the finished product, not the steps you took to get there.
Yeah.
We're only meeting at the end of the road, because if I have to send in the email, you send it to me, I have to read the email, find the address for you, put a telephone number there, I might as well do all the jobs. So then monitoring becomes, way more difficult. But if this employee is to send an email and you've gone through a process from your entry level where I know you can send an email and I'm trusting you to send that email, I only want to be on copy. So then it's easier to check my mail and say, okay, I sent it, and I received it. So it's easier to monitor when you've gained a certain level of independence with the employee. But for new employees, usually I am more of a helicopter style in management. I micromanage you. I am standing over you. I am there every day, every time you turn around, until I can gain the confidence that you will be able to do certain things.
That's very interesting. And I hope our viewers are also taking key on many of these interesting style of monitoring and accessing employees' performance, ensuring that employees always get the best and optimal results. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we get to focus more on the employee experience. This is CEO's Chat. We'll return shortly. Welcome back to CEO's Chat here on KMTV and also simulcast on Blaze TV and Satec TV. Our topic for tonight's discussion is how to inspire your employees. If you're a business owner, you're running a company, or even you're thinking about setting up a company, this topic is for you. How can you inspire employees when you have them or you already have them? We have Mrs. Aminata Kamara. She is the commercial and communication, commercial and media manager at Tamma Corporation. We've been having very nice conversation on the employees' experience. A lot of time people focus only on the customer experience. Today, we've decided to focus on the employees' experience. Those who work for you, how can you boost their optimum capacity, their performance, and their output. So let's get back to the guest as we continue our conversation. Now, there are several ways that we can inspire, employees. And I'd like to know from your own experience, what have you, done, and how can we inspire employees?
Well, personally, I think the key thing is to be a leader and not a boss. And
Say that again.
To be a leader and not a boss.
What's the difference?
There's a huge difference between being a leader and a boss.
Okay.
So the first thing is you choose to empower your employees as a leader, and a boss will choose to take advantage of them. So it's your the way in which you choose to lead can be exemplary, and those are things that could inspire or demotivate your employees. So you could choose to mispa. So you could choose to fix problems, and the boss will choose to blame the employee. So when something goes wrong, the boss will be there, but you did this and you did that. And whereas the leader will be like, okay, so what are the things that went wrong and how can we fix them? So that's another
So
key difference.
leaders do not take blames; they fix problems. But how do you chastise people? If you can blame people for the wrongs that they do on the job, the ill performances that they commit on the job, do you necessarily need to chastise them?
Well, I don't believe in chastising adults, though,
Okay.
because they are adults, and a part of being an adult is taking responsibility,
Sure.
being self-aware, and those are key factors that will enhance your performance. I know that no employee is perfect. Obviously, none of us are. There are times when we'll make mistakes, but the way in which you choose to correct that situation could make or break your relationship with the employee in that process. So this was the task, this was supposed to get done. Unfortunately, the employee did not do it. Do you spend 2 hours pointing fingers and blaming the employee? Or do you identify the areas of shortcomings and see how to fix it? So that way, immediately you're building trust, you're building a line of communication. There are so many things you will be fixing by just doing things differently at that point in time.
So the first step is be a leader and not a boss.
Yes.
What's the second one?
Okay. Lead the way and not send the employees. So rather than saying, go and do this, you could show the employee how to do it. Because once you teach them how, it's sustainable. When you go, you're going to do things your own way and they will come back and you know the whole hula baloo. So it's better as a leader to actually show them how to do it. That way they know how to do it forever.
And someone said people get to learn better when they see it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's important. So we learn be a leader, not a boss. Lead the way instead of sending them. And I mean, nice nuggets. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling.
Fix the problems. Don't blame the employee.
Okay, fix the problems.
Recognize team efforts. There's no I in a team as a boss. So once the work is completed, then you hear the boss say, yeah, I did it and I did it. They got some of those people that I did it and I did it. When you recognize the team efforts, people feel appreciated and they tend to do more. Because at the end of the day, they know that whatever recognition is coming, it's not coming to the boss, but it's coming to the team as a unit.
And that's the teamwork.
Yeah.
When everyone see a part in what they've done, then everyone gets motivated to do even more, to do better. These are, nice information. Let's keep going. I'm liking it.
Okay. I have. You should be reliant and not intimidating. So your employees should be able to work on you with problems, whether those are things that they've already pressed chakla button, or things that they don't understand. They should be able to rely on you as an individual, your knowledge, your patience, and your competence to be able to come up to you, and you should not be in the position to imitate them. Oh, but that is small thing you know, that the thing you can do. Those are things that we say in one phrase, but it means way more to the employee. So the next time I'm challenged by a certain task, I'm not coming to you.
I feel afraid.
Exactly. So it's better to be a reliant person. Okay, so what is it that you don't understand here? What kind of support do you need in completing this task? Those are things that you should be offering rather than, intimidating the employee.
So from your experience, Are you seeing these things in most Liberian businesses that the head is a leader, another boss, and people are
Why are you
and
trying to
people
put me in a hot seat
yeah
here?
people I mean we're talking this is a Liberian show, we're teaching Liberians and of course many other
Yeah.
foreigners wanting to learn a lot about business. What's your experience? Are you seeing people now adapting to because I can tell you, I mean, over 10 years now, I've been, around business and operating business. What I do know, a lot of people think that if you are a boss and you have employees, you must be militaristic, you must be shouting, you must be passing all around with a cane in your hand. That type of, buff bosses style. But you having, these points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, I've been very fortunate to work with people that were not military, that did not have that militant, attitude towards work. And I think that it has helped shape me to be the kind of manager that I am today. And a key part of that process has been self-awareness, the effect that you have on people that are your direct reports. At the end of the day, what kind of relationship is it that you want to build with these people? After the job, what happens? Do you want to look back and be like where you see people that you've worked with and they're barely willing to speak to you because of your attitude? Would you like your boss to treat you the same way you treat others? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself as once you place in a leadership role. And if you're very honest and you can answer those questions, then you should be a good leader.
And I think over the years I've exhibited that.
Which
Yeah,
ones?
all of them.
Hey.
The good ones, not the bad ones. Yeah, the good ones. So.
I mean, we all have our pitfalls, and there are some days that could be challenging, So they will bring out the devil in you, but it's important to be aware of those days and how you choose to manage those situations are key. It could make or break you. Yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln said, adversity or problems or trials brings up, a man's true character.
Exactly.
So when you're not under stress, you can't display your truest, form and character. Let's get deeper. More nuggets on how to inspire your employees.
Okay. You should recognize small and large accomplishments.
Okay.
You shouldn't be focused only on those employees that are doing like big things in the organization, but employees that do small things. And I usually give the janitor as an example because we tend to overlook the work that they do, but it's very key in an organization. If your janitor is not performing, clients won't be able to enter your building because the smell, the stench, and the look of the area won't be presentable. So every time you walk past that janitor, say, "Oh, hello, thank you for cleaning the place. The place really looking clean." It's a small thing, but it's a compliment. And it will, get that person motivated to do their work and do it on time.
And that's true. I mean, from experience, that's true. If you give people compliments, you see a bright smile on their face.
Exactly.
And you see them more energetic and wanting to do even bigger things than they are actually assigned to. Let's
because
get more.
sometimes you tend to focus on like those managers in the company that are bringing in big, money and stuff or opportunities. But at every level, every individual contributes towards that organization in some way or form. That is key towards the organization's existence.
Exactly.
Yes, so you have to compliment them. Ask and not command.
Ask.
Ask and not command.
And
Go
that
and
reminds
do
me
this.
about the that part. It's a lead and not show them, right?
Yeah. So you asking and not command. Welcome. Can you pass me that paper?
Okay.
Give me that paper.
Two different.
Two totally different things that you're saying, even though you're asking the same thing, but the way in which the tone, your tonation, the manner in which you choose to approach the employees could be key towards your organization's success. There are organizations where, and I have been to a couple of them in Liberia, where when the boss is in, you see everybody sitting stiff in the corner and stuff. And as soon as the boss leaves, they got tobacco on the table and you're trying to ask questions, nobody paying attention to you and stuff like that. So you don't want that kind of organization. You want, even in the absence of the boss,
the work still goes on.
Exactly.
And everyone knows their functions and everything.
Yeah. So
and the way to do that is what?
You ask.
You ask.
And you not comment. You lead. You show them how to do it. And you don't demand.
Impressive. And I think leaders, because in my practice, I believe if you want to be successful at business, you must first develop leadership traits before you getting started with business. And these are very powerful leadership traits that you can develop. Very nice ones. Let's learn more.
Let me see what else I have here. Another thing that's important is to recognize your technical staff and build on them. So you don't have to know it all as the supervisor or the manager, which is sometimes the thinking that we have, like I have to know it all. So whenever people come to me, I must have answers. There's nothing wrong with depending on your technical staff for technical advice, so that they feel important in the process of the development. So like, I'm not a technical person, but I'm a manager. I manage tasks and their completion. You're the technical person. You should know the technical steps that's involved. And those are two different things. But sometimes you see people pretending to know it all, and at the end of the day, they end up messing things up because they're not giving the right direction. So you as a manager, you don't have to know it all. You can depend on your staff for technical advice and make them feel like a part of the process.
These are mine intriguing, I must admit, because. And even if you look at larger corporations like Google or Amazon and the way things are run there, you get to understand that even the chief executive officer might have very different background from the business that he is running.
Exactly.
And not because he has a different educational background. It is because he has management abilities and management capabilities.
Exactly.
And he's able to invite the technical folks over, collaborate with them, and together they can produce whatever outputs that they have on deck.
Yeah.
So, do we still have more?
I think I have one last one. You should give credits and not take credits. So, I think we said the I in the team is also related to that. So, once the job is completed, there's not one thing we need to realize as leaders, there's not enough room around the table. So, every person from the team would not be called to that table. But you as an individual sitting there, you're there to represent your team, not yourself as an individual. So when they say, oh, this presentation looks very nice, say, oh, my secretary did it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you would say thank you and you take the credit for yourself. And it's not motivating to that person. So if the overall boss comes out and meet your secretary and say, oh, great job you did on that presentation. Your boss told me. How do you think that person feels at the end of the day?
I mean, they feel so accomplished.
Exactly.
So accomplished.
So those are the little things that you want to do on the job.
Let's summarize them. So that the first one.
Be a leader and not a boss.
Okay.
Empower and not take advantage. Fix problems and not blame. Lead and not send. Recognize team efforts. No I. There's no I in a team. Be reliant and not intimidating. Recognize small and large accomplishments. Ask and not command. Show how to do it. Don't act like you have to know it all. Give credits and not take them.
Impressive. Many ways to inspire, motivate, employees to get their outputs, to get their best, or to have them doing what they know best. Now, this is the time we talk about you. You're a successful person. A lot of people look up to you. They see you as someone who they want to model their life after. So we
Okay.
want to get your success nuggets.
Uh-huh.
What are things that you did to set you at this current pace?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How did you become so successful now?
Hey, how do I put that in words? Well, I mean, success is relative. So,
Judging your relativity, what did you do
I think it's,
differently from the rest of the people that
yeah.
landed you? Now, enterprising young women have managed a lot of people, still managing people, and producing very good results.
I think the most important part in this entire process is having a drive, like knowing where you want to, what your end goal is. Because I'm not even mid-level there yet. So you need to have a vision for yourself. Like, where do you see yourself? You could choose to set short-term goals or long-term goals, but where do you see yourself will come in the next 5 years? What do you see yourself doing? And that's my drive. Because I know in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be, and these are the things I want to see myself doing. And that is what drives me towards achieving that goal. And an important part is, I know a lot of people saying staying humble. Most people say you don't know you humble until you have money, right? So I won't lie that I'm humble. But I think it's being able to reflect on myself as an individual and my owning up to my actions, like, and staying true to myself, to my goal, not changing it because I see another person going faster in pace, or not changing what I want to accomplish because I see people doing other things. Just staying true to me, Aminata, and staying focused on the things I want to achieve and not what the world wants me to achieve.
So, are you still consistent with your childhood goals, or you had to, by the wayside, manage to do something
No,
different?
obviously, evolution is a part of life and it's very key. Because if you say you have to stay consistent to that goal, you will be stuck somewhere pre-war, working in a military hospital or something. So no. You see, like, we have all these apps, right, or software. They have new versions.
Updated always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to always update your goals. And based on the reality, your current reality, you have to evolve. So maybe you wanted to be a doctor back then because doctors were doing this. But then the war happened and the education system in our country, and there are so many things happening. Do you sit and still only want to be a doctor, or do you go back and reevaluate that plan and see what are my current possibilities and how do I still become this professional person that I want to become? Which path do I take? At the end of the day, like I said, you have to stay focused on your goal. And your goal is not to become a thing, it's to be someone.
So, that's your drive and staying focused.
Yes.
In your personal experience, what has been your biggest failure and why?
Show you us. Okay. Professional failure,
Professional,
right?
yeah. Business now. We're talking corporate issues.
Let me think. That's a hard one, in all honesty.
Because here we bring you the corporate people. You've told us about how successful that, what has kept your level of success. You've been driven by a drive. You've been focused on what you wanted to do. Though evolution is a natural process, you always have to evolve, update, and upgrade your goals and everything. But failure is
It is a
an
part of
ultimate
life.
blockade.
Exactly.
No one evades failure. So personally, how have you been? What's your biggest failure, and how were you able to jump out of failure and then steer back on course?
Well, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily call it failure It's probably a hurdle in a way, maybe you could call it. Um, but professionally, I don't think I've failed. I think I've made choices. I would rather
Wrong
call it
choices?
more choices.
Bad choices?
Choices.
Okay.
I've made choices that, and usually, in all honesty, it's brought me to a place where I've had to challenge myself more. So I used to work in the government, let's say 5, 6 years ago, and at some point I resigned. And to everybody, it was like, "Oh, why are you resigning? Nothing happened on the job. Job is not high in Liberia," and stuff like that. And then you start to question your choices, and that's why I said choices. So it was not necessarily a failure career-wise, but it's a choice I made. And I started to question those choices because finding a new job can be challenging. But at the end of the day, I was able to get a better position, a job that was way more fulfilling, and somewhere that I am proud of where I am right now. So like I said, sometimes you have to make choices in life that would not be determined by society, your surrounding, but your individual goals, your individual person, staying true to your person. And that is very key. And in making those decisions, people around you may not understand and they may consider it as failure, but then it's a choice for you that you've made. And stand by it.
You see, I'm getting immersed in I like how you call it.
Don't
It's
ask
choice.
no more questions.
And it's about choices. So as we wrap up now, those who are watching, those who will watch later, what will be your recommendation to them as an entrepreneur who wants to start business, or who, since we're talking about employees now, what would be your singular recommendation to them to always keep their employees, performing optimally?
Like I said, for me, the
And
most
that you can just summarize in your parting comments.
okay. The most important thing is to treat employees the way you would want to be treated. I think that sums it up for me. I would want to be treated fairly. Whenever I knock on the door of my boss, I would want that boss to say, "Come in." And that is what I give to my employees at the end of the day. When they knock on my door, I should be available to be able to hear them out, to be able to give them, a fair treatment, to be able to give them increment, to be able to give them time to spend with their families, to be able to give them sick days off. I think employees should be treated fairly, and they should be treated as you would want to be treated by your boss. Don't think that because you're a manager, you have a better life than the rest of the people. They deserve as much as you get or you would want to get from your boss. And that's how I put it in a nutshell.
Okay, and I would like to say many thanks to you.
You're welcome.
Many thanks to you for coming. We in COVID, and everyone is
Yeah.
afraid. The virus is doing a lot, and I hope and pray that you keep strong and keep motivating and inspiring your employees.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing, since we're talking COVID, for the employers out there, maybe it would be nice if following the COVID protocols, maybe to encourage your employees to get vaccinated. Currently, there are no vaccines in town, but as soon as there are vaccines available, maybe you should encourage them because safety comes first.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be an employer that will be putting your employees at risk or losing them at the end of the process. You don't want to live with that kind of guilt also.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm afraid that's all the time that we have on CEO's Chat today. My guest has been Mrs. Aminata Kamara, Sneh. She's the commercial and media manager at Tamma Corporation. We've been talking about how you can inspire your employees. My name is Wilcom Duncan, CEO of Champion Designs. Until we are back next Thursday, the program is CEO's Chat. Keep watching KMTV and always wear your nose masks. Avoid other areas. Always keep the 3 feet, or some people say 6 feet distance. Whichever way, keep distance between you and others. And always wash your hands after you've come in contact with people. Bye-bye. Keep watching and enjoy.